Jay, considering where things currently stand, there are expectations on both sides. Obviously, his analogy of the river as well. What do you see as the next big thing, or what do you expect to be the next big thing as far as bilateral relations are
Much
concerned?
of what you're saying on the screen in terms of bilateral relations, that sort of thing doesn't require Hillary Clinton to come here or Krishna to go there. I mean, this is normal menu discussion.
Right.
I think the big ticket issue that we have is what happens in Afghanistan once the Americans keep sort of leaving the vacuum behind.
Yeah.
Even if the Americans do not disappear completely, the point is it's already visible. The Karzai's brother, Karzai's closest aide, I mean, these killings are evidence of that facts are changing on the ground.
Yeah.
Pakistan is pushing Washington to permit Pakistan to acquire this space, which is being vacated. And I'm sure the Pakistani argument is that they would be in the best position to manage Taliban, to keep Taliban under control. That, look, this is a slightly rabid dog, but nobody else understands it. We do, and therefore let us manage this. You can go back to Seattle or, Idaho, wherever you come from, and we'll really look after this. But a combination. Taliban is not an Afghan idea. Taliban is a Pakistan idea. Taliban was created in Peshawar. The successes, the military successes of Taliban were an extension of Pakistan's military intelligence and colonels and officers who had been lent and put there. So it is a Pakistani army operation. Even if you remember, after 9/11, when America attacked, Pakistan asked for time so that it could lift its people out of Afghanistan before the American invasion and bombing began. So this relationship is almost symbiotic. And for Pakistan to pretend that it can actually tame a dog that it itself has turned rabid, I hope the Americans don't buy that. That is where the real argument that we will see being shipped will take place, I think, between these two nations.
Ambassador said, in that case, keeping that in perspective, whether the Americans buy that argument or not, and India's concerns over the possibility of Pakistan increasingly filling that space that's being vacated by the United States, is the US really in a position to assuage those concerns? How have they been assuaging India's concerns as far as that is concerned?
I think, as the situation evolves, I think both the countries will have to, they are keeping close touch, obviously. It's not going to, we might try to write a common script, but it's not necessarily going to go by the script. The situation is very fluid, as MJ explained, within Afghanistan itself, and you can guess where it's coming from. These very, very strong messages coming from the assassinations in quick succession. You'll see more of that, I think. So the situation is fluid. We'll have to adapt ourselves to that. And the emerging situation is, he summed it up, I think MJ summed it up extremely well. So we're conscious of it, the Americans are conscious of it, but as I said earlier, with so much of investment of blood and pressure, they are not going to cut and run from that situation. In terms of the interests of the United States itself, it's not so much the interests of India or any other country, but in the interest of the United States itself, its credibility. They will maintain some presence, and that will not be involved in counterinsurgency operations against the Taliban. It's going to be to maintain some kind of a control over the activities. And of also trying to train the Afghan army. Which is very frankly today, if you look at the situation, it is much worse than what it was when Najibullah